party or its candidates. I want y'all to type that in there, and we're going to go to the next question, which is this election cycle. Do you think politicians are connecting with everyday realities of Black Americans, or are they missing the mark? Now, y'all can pull it based off of this particular campaign ad if you want to, but I don't think it should be limited to that. So I want to hear you guys' perspective, and lady perspective, female, woman perspective. Do you think they're connecting? Like, and I don't just mean Republican or Democrat. I mean both. I mean, I get to say it because I'm a libertarian and we don't win shit nationally. So the reality is, I'm kind of neutral in this conversation. What do you all think? Let's go to Deja, let's go back to Mr. Let Go, and then back to Chad.
Yeah, so, I will say this one thing in particular. Do I think that they're connecting on a personal level? To be honest, I think that they're making an attempt. I am hearing, when at the rallies, when they're sharing their personal stories about this woman died because of an illegal immigrant who harmed her or killed her in a drunk accident, or this woman almost died because she, had a baby. You can see Tim Walz' son in tears in the audience. It's emotional, it's personal. Even Trump's trying to, open it up and reel in some of the antics he usually does, so we can actually connect on a real level. I see attempts being made, to be honest with you. So I definitely think that's happening. I will say this, though. One thing that I was really surprised by Kamala, and I'm going to keep saying her name correctly because I think it's definitely a shame to get engaged in a conversation like this if you don't know the names. So Kamala. One thing I've noticed with her is she's sort of teased us with her actual policy ideas. She's danced around it. She's danced around doing some of the interviews. And I think just now, weeks before the election, she's actually getting more open and honest. I was just seeing on the TV that she did an interview today where she really got into some stuff. So she's taken a new approach where she's waiting to the end to dangle all the cherries in the gems. And I don't know if that's going to hurt her or help her. So we'll see. But I think that's being made. Yeah.
Mr. Let Go, what do you think? Are they reaching or are they reaching?
Here's my actual issue with all of this. Trump in particular doesn't necessarily need to connect due to the fact that he's been president already. He already connected. It's up to Koala to actually connect.
Bro!
What happened?
Go ahead. Hey, real quick, everybody follow Deja on Twitter.
Yeah, that was great. But yeah, I follow him on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up.
Continue.
It's up to Koala to actually connect with the other koala bears for something to actually stick, because one, she has to use something in order to connect, because she cannot use her own words of voice because she doesn't have a lot of sense. Virtually everything that comes out of her mouth is going to be, I was raised in a middle class family, or what is the other stupid thing she says? Believe, she just says a whole bunch of nursery rhymes or whatever. So she literally has to use some type of other propaganda in order to connect. But Trump literally doesn't even have to, he can go back home because it's over, because literally every time Kamala opens her mouth, she says something stupid. So I don't think she can connect with people because she's tried in so many different ways to connect and has always backfired.
Listen, the views of Mr. Let Go are the views of Mr. Let Go here. All right, guys. I want you guys to subscribe to Mr. Let Go, youtube.com/@MrLetGo. Tripping ain't easy with the super chat. Hey, I want y'all to make sure y'all follow my guy, Trip Simpson. Great show. Tell my man Chad I said salute. He's changing the game with his insight 100%. Chad, I want to jump in here real quick before we go back to Chad. I do think that they need to connect. I'm going to give you some pushback, Mr. Let Go, about Trump not needing to connect. If he didn't need to connect, and if he needed to go home, he wouldn't be at McDonald's. Like, he wouldn't be at McDonald's doing that, and maybe that's a troll, right?
Yeah, it's a troll.
Anybody that's running for a campaign, I think they need to connect, but where I'm seeing both sides fail miserably, and I want to be very clear, there are more than just two options. I want everybody to understand. I know y'all gonna be mad at me for being a third, fourth, fifth party type of person. However, I want everybody to, look into other candidates and see. Maybe there's something there for you, right? There's been a black man running for president for over a year now. His name happens to be Cornel West. Now, some may say that he does not have a clear path to victory. If you say you're super pro-black and you're not even highlighting the black man that's running, I got to ask that question a bit. But saying this to say, I think that any candidate that's going to want to run for office needs to connect. If you're not in, you in barbershops and you in bodegas and you're talking about collard greens, right? It becomes you're trying at least to try to connect. I think that part is important. Where I think they're failing is they're not connecting with actual policy. Like they just said, she waiting until the last minute. Bro, I don't need you to wait to the last minute. I need clarity before I come to your house. If we gonna do this and get busy, I need clarity before I come to your house, shorty. Like I need that. We need to connect, and it needs to be clear if I'm gonna get the yams or not. So I think that those conversations needed to have been had on policy by both of those folks, right? If we isolating it to Kamala and Trump, that's my perspective. I think Trump has more charisma and is a lot more articulate and is sharp. I think she's fighting against some serious 3, maybe going on 4 years of where the fuck were you? You was in the basement like Joe type of energy. And so I think she needs to do a little bit more to kind of rumble against that. Huge shouts to Terry Renee for the super chat, $10. Says, I don't subscribe to the labels that have been created to divide. However, I live in America. It's my priority since this is where I am. The Dems' actions don't show they care about America. Then we got Eli80, who just says koala. Y'all are wild. Like, come on, y'all. Like, can we at least wait? What's the correct pronunciation? Are we at least gonna all agree? Because the brothers is ganging up on our team. Can we at least agree? Go ahead, Deja.
Can I also just mention too that it's obviously y'all are being a little passive aggressive by intentionally messing her name or comparing it to animals, which I think is a little petty, unfortunately.
You guys on some toxic masculinity a little bit.
And I also think it's a little xenophobic. You obviously know she has a name from another country, so you're intentionally acting like
xenophobic? Are you kidding me?
She obviously has a name from a different country. So her name is Kamala. So like I was saying, if you feel passionate about these ideas and you want to engage in conversation, you'd think that you just maybe learn the name. But
Mr. Let It Go, she's saying you want some xenophobic shit, bro. Like what's up with that, y'all? I mean, do y'all have problem with folks from other countries?
This is the typical black woman weaponization of womanhood. Women enjoy weaponizing men.
It also happened to Barack as well, so just saying.
Women enjoy weaponizing it's like you're like, if it's a monster coming at you, you gonna pick up anything and try to throw it at the monster, right? So women just love to pick up anything they can and just start throwing at people in order to fight with logic. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like what it is. Oh, you're a narcissist. You're a misogynist. You're xenophobic. You don't like women, because it's kind of sad. So whenever you see
the sister look like she's not really being aggressive. The sister look like she's just saying, "Hey, can we have some respect for our Indian, Black American mixed vice president?"
But can I finish? Like I don't. I'm just saying.
But you're not even responding to what I'm saying.
But can I finish? Can I finish? I don't interrupt anybody else. Like I just want to say. So the first thing is, this is what women tend to do. They're going to sit here and throw toasters at you and whatever they possibly can, and instead of just having a conversation. Now, when it comes to the woman's name, I can call her whatever I want to call her. That doesn't mean I'm xenophobic, exophobic, R-phobic, A-phobic, B-phobic, whatever phobic y'all want to sit around and throw at me again. That because that's a toaster being thrown at me. I have the right to say what I want to say. Go ahead.
Yes.
The ratchet gentlemen have dominated for enough time. Let's bring some sense and logic back into the equation. My brother Chad, do you think the politicians are connecting with everyday realities of Black Americans?
Well, before I answer that, let me just address why I call her Camilla. I call her Camilla because it flows off the tongue better.
Exactly.
And then too, like, it's interesting that our sister Deja here is accusing us of not showing her respect by calling her Camilla, this, that, and the third. When you look at someone like Camilla, and she's misrepresenting Trump when she says that it's Trump's Project 2025. She's misrepresenting Trump when she says, oh, Trump said that if he loses, it's going to be a bloodbath and all this other nonsense, knowing good and well that's not what he said.
Right.
She misrepresents Trump when she says that, oh, Trump says there's fine people on both sides, meaning the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists, there's good people among them, knowing good and well that's not what he said.
It's not.
And so it's interesting that Camilla can sit there and misrepresent after misrepresent after misrepresent after misrepresent, but yet and still y'all expect us to sit here and pronounce her name right. So as the kids will say, miss me with that. When it comes to the need to connect, I do believe that, so here's the thing. I want to go a little bit of a different direction with this. When it comes to my approach to politics, if a politician, and J.D. Vance did this, when a politician gets up there and says, I come from a poor family, my grandfather was a this and my grandfather was a that, my opinion on that is I don't give a damn about what your grandfather did or didn't do or where you come from or whether you're poor or whatever the case may be. I want to know what your policies are.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know where you stand on the Constitution. I want to know what you stand on the First, Second, Third, Fourth, Fifth, 10th Amendment, so on and so forth. I want to know where you stand on those things. That's what I want to know. I don't care about your backstory. I don't care about. I want to look up that stuff myself because I'm curious, to know those kind of things. But I don't want to waste. I don't want to go to your campaign rally or to watch your debate, and you waste my precious time that I took to watch you. Tell me about where you come from and how you grew up eating beans and cornbread. And I don't care about any of that. I want to know. I want for you to get straight to the jugular as to what it is you stand for, why you're running for president, what it is you believe about our country, what's your jurisprudence, what's your political philosophy. That's what I want to know. And so as far as your connection to me, I don't want you to connect to me. I don't want you to have anything to do with me. I want for you to limit and to shrink the size of the government. That's what I'm interested in. And we can just call it that. But again, not to get too carried away, my point is I don't want to connect with a politician. I want for them to shrink the size of the government and just let that be that. I don't care about your name and your heritage and your lineage and I don't care about any of that.
Chad,
just do what you're supposed to do. Do what the Constitution requires you to do, and leave office and let that be that.
I just want to ask Chad a question. Can I ask Chad a question?
Sure.
You don't think it's kind of narcissistic to literally dismiss?
Out there. You just
hold on. No, hold on. You don't think it's narcissistic for you to literally dismiss her saying what can be unburdened by what has been? What can be unburdened by what has been? What can be unburdened by what has been? I think that's narcissistic for you to, that's beautiful words. And you're just going to dismiss all that saying, I don't care what has been unburdened by what has been. How dare you?
So wait, I'm about to light y'all up. I'm about to light y'all both up. I got, as a matter of fact, real quick, Deja, you jump in, then I gotta light up Chad and Mr. Let Go. I gotta get them both.
Go so ahead. You have been unburdened also? Wow, that's crazy.
So just real quick, Mr. Let Go.
Yes.
I do appreciate you getting into this conversation. Okay. You're killing me up here. I'm dying laughing.
Y'all are narcissists.
I love you throwing out that word after having a really hard time thinking that other people throw out that word. But okay, whatever. And I definitely think, Chad, I do agree with you. I do agree about the whole, like, we want to know what the policies are. And side note, I have this feeling that Kamala in particular has waited until so close to the election so that she didn't have to argue her policies at the debates. That's why I feel like she wasn't as open, because if she was open a couple months ago, however long the timeline was, then we can actually come to you and argue with you about it versus waiting until most of the debates are over just before the election to drop them. I think that was a strategy. That's just me. But I will just say, to your point, Chad, about not caring about the candidate.
Y'all make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to hit the like button. Hit the like button, y'all.
Connect with everyone. But I do think where you're from, how you grew up, your background, it influences who you are as a person. One day I'll be a psychologist, by the way, side note. It influences who you are as a person, what you believe in, what you do. And I want to know about that. So just sharing that.
All right. Both Chad and Mr. Let Go are both wrong. One, and I'll say wrong with tweaks. Okay. And then we're gonna move to the next video right after this. Here's why I think you guys are both wrong, but you're right and wrong. That is a connection. If earlier today I used the word, somebody said I wanted a cult because I want to live around people that have the same exact values of me. We unfortunately I do not have a bubble. I engage people because I don't live in a bubble, but I want a bubble. And the person said, yo, so you want a cult? I 100% do, because a cult is a culture, right? The connection that I'm looking for from a politician is the policy in alignment with the Constitution, limited government, so forth and so on. I need you to articulate what that is. If you're saying, I want to get us out of certain, I don't know, European unions that we should have never been a part of in the first place, we connected. We speak in the same language. And I think that any politician that leans too heavily on personality and slick sayings, more so than connecting to me or the general population with what their job is, I think they're still trying to connect. They just connected on something that has nothing to do with the forward advancement of what we got going on and what your job actually is as a politician. And Mr. Let Go, you're minimalizing the struggle and the experience that Shamika Michelle said, I can't be talking about limited government if I'm a liberal today. All right. But nonetheless, I think that even if you're right about the perspective, and this is to actually Chad and Mr. Let Go, y'all are correct in the perspective of, I don't care what your name is. I don't care that I don't have to pronounce it correctly. And then what you do is you box yourself into a less strategic move that allows your opposition politically to make you look unserious. Because if I get on stage, I remember when Obama was running initially, and if people were sarcastically and on the petty tip going Barack Hussein Obama, then that person can easily be packaged as saying, hey, well, look, this person really doesn't care. They don't care about the real issue. Their focus is the petty. I think it's a less strategic maneuver. I think that me saying, if I pronounce her name perfectly, and if I articulate these points in a way, it's not because I'm showing too much respect. It's me going, now you have no argument against me. I'm infallible. If we allow ourselves to get snatched onto sidebars, they can make us package us this way. Trump does a very good job of it. That's why he renames everybody. He gives somebody a different name first. So now they're struggling to get from underneath the name that he called them. Like from now on, Warren is going to be Pocahontas, right? But in turn for doing that, his base may be in alignment with it. But people on the left, or even moderates, because we can explain, we all know that if you're extreme right or extreme left, if they're there, they're there. But the moderates might go, oh, this person is unprofessional and unserious. So that's just something that I add to the argument. When I get to Congress, if I'm arguing against somebody, I'm going to say what Thomas Massey says. I'm going to say my colleagues on the left. I want to say you morons on the left or you morons on the right. So I'm going to push back against you both. And I'm going to say that me and Deja won that round just because I'm just.
Well, do you mind expounding on
that? Go ahead, Chad.
Do you mind expounding on that? Because to say that you think that Trump does it right, and then you proceed to say he comes up with nicknames for everybody, Pocahontas, such and so forth. Is that not the very pettiness that you're arguing against?
And that's
No, I'm agreeing. You said, I'm not saying he does it right. I'm saying he does the naming well for branding the other person, but that helps his base, but that doesn't help him with moderates. It generally doesn't. Now to your point, what will do it for moderates, the moderate that will kind of look past some of that, and I don't know how many, like, I don't see it being a lot of them, but the moderate that would look past some of that, they'll go back to policy anyway. They'll go back to the economics of it all. They'll go back to what was the gas numbers looking like? Can he negotiate with OPEC nations, right? But that person isn't necessarily the person that we got to worry about if we're trying to get people to make informed decisions. That person's almost like not even on the left anymore. And I don't say that in a rude way to anybody on the left. You know what I mean? So he does it right in a sense of it works like gangbusters with the base. This is the same thing that, the Charlie Kirks, and if you have a bigoted, somewhat more of a bigoted base or biased base, you'll say little slick stuff that your base will rile up behind, and to keep them, you throwing that red meat to the base. I think they do that, and it works for the base, but it doesn't help expand the movement. If you can be culturally or Christian conservative, but if that dominates all of your policy and engaging with people that don't think that way, you probably won't get many bills accomplished on the floor, because you got to reach some folks that don't think culturally the way that you do. So that's just that. Let's jump to, unless somebody has to jump in real quick. If anybody wants to rebut to any of those points.
I do.
Okay.
So I'll start with this. I grew up in a middle class family.
okay.
And I'm making a joke, but I'm actually going against your point all at the same time. This is exactly what she's doing. With all this, what can be unburdened, or I grew up in a middle class family. She's doing the same thing that you're accusing other people of. It's just not insulting, right? When you usurp the actual point and start going in a different direction in order to keep people from asking you pertinent questions, whether it's making fun of somebody and calling them a name, or saying something incoherent because you're actually stupid, it's the same thing. The only difference is Kamala doesn't have the brain capacity to actually do something that a coherent person can do. So she makes up random sentences in order to divert from the actual question. It's literally the same thing. She just can't coherently speak.
So to your point, it's more a sniper, a wordsmith is going to be, their rudeness is going to be direct.
So it's wordsmith versus word salad. Exactly.
Yeah. So
yes,
it's not, to your point, you don't think she's sharp enough to do it. Dave, you want to jump in there?
Yes.
Yes, I would like to just jump in real quick, because I don't know if I would love to dive in a little deeper too on the pop the balloon. There's some stuff I could say there, but I would say this. Okay, since the beginning of our country, politics has always been a little like this, right? This is although Trump, I think we saw him in a whole new way. And I saw in the comments two people were asking, am I playing both sides, right? And the answer is, one, I'm a Democrat and I'm going to vote for Kamala. Although if I had other choices, I would choose other people, but this is what we got and this is what I'm going to choose. So, but no, I'm not trying to play both sides. I'm just a rational person who can hear different ideas and have a conversation without being insulting, or try not to be insulting. But this is the way politics has always been. People, we see the smear campaigns, and to be honest with you, sometimes it plays in the candidate's favor, and people are like, okay, well, I didn't know that they had this many rape allegations, or et cetera, or sometimes it makes them look tacky, as Trump has leaned in too far at some point and scared some people off. So I don't want to get too caught up in the taking shots at each other, because that's literally the way politics has always been.
I can see that point.
I wanted to
Go ahead,
respond
Chad.
very quickly to what you said, Maj. So I hear your point about how, and also Deja's point too, about, when you purposely go out of your way to mispronounce her name, even if you're making a sound argument, you're losing people and they're not taking you serious. I get that point. However, I can honestly say, and I have the receipts to prove it, that there's people who said that they were going to vote for her, but are now voting for Trump based upon seeing my videos, even the videos where I'm calling her Camilla. So I have receipts to show that. And so my question would then be, if we are saying that, Trump is notorious for coming up with nicknames for people, and thus he lose the so-called moderates, my question will be, what are the receipts for that? Is that the only barometer that we're using to determine Trump's success or failure in reaching people? And if so, how exactly are we weighing that, if you will? Because he did win the 2016 election, and sure, there's a lot of people who think that he lost the 2020 election fair and square, but there's a lot of people, I would venture to say half the country, who believe that he actually won the last election that was stolen from him. So, so what are we using as a metric gauge to determine, or metric to determine whether or not Trump doing that is effective? Because when you look at the so-called black vote from 2016 to 2020, it actually increased for Trump. And then from 2020 to 2024, the polls show that they're actually increasing for Trump all the more. And the same is true of Hispanics. And so I'm sure that among those Blacks and Hispanics who are navigating toward Trump, among many of them, there are independents. Sure, they might be moderates. Sure, they might historically vote Democrat, but we all know that in the Black community, just because you vote Democrat doesn't necessarily mean that you're a raging liberal. And so my point is the numbers are actually trending positively in Trump's favor. So what are we using as a metric or as a barometer to say that what he's doing is ineffective?
So for me, it's not necessarily just Trump. Trump is a weird anomaly. And I want to say that in the sense of, to me, it's not just Trump. There's a reason why because, like you said earlier, I'm one of the people that was like, me looking around, I'm going like, nah, more people are going to go for Trump from hoods across America. More people are going to do that, right? The difference with Trump is almost like, and this is not Trump worship, this is just what it was. Trump and Arnold Schwarzenegger are very similar to me when I give examples, because they got a 40-year hot streak to start with. So if Trump was already beloved and developed something that the brand was already stronger than the smear campaigns and the lies that for damn near 10 years now, because we got to remember he started campaigning in 2015, if we going back, right? The smear campaigns couldn't hold up to what he had already built. So I don't necessarily mean just as it relates to Trump, because Trump's brand was already large enough to outlast some of and then the left didn't have facts. The left kind of just had all of this Russiagate, gobbledygook, all of that other type of stuff, right? I'm speaking about getting people to not just it being based on Trump, because Trump is single-handedly holding the GOP together as far as voting base goes. That's it. The GOP and Republicans in general do not have the brand, the strength, the time in, the charisma, and quite frankly, the money that Trump has. So they're trying to emulate somebody's characteristics. You can't tell a joke. If you see somebody tell a joke on television, that comedian has practiced that joke relentlessly for maybe a year already. They were on stages. There were no phones around.
Y'all make sure to hit the like button. The like says stop. Make sure to hit the like button.
Emulate some of these things, right? Because they're just targeting to their base, right? I can go to a college and I can argue against 19, 20-year-olds that have no serious political education. And that's really, really good looking for sound bites and clicks and videos, but it does not get those college students going in that collectively. I think that more people should be going in a more balanced approach. And to be perfectly honest, I know, obviously, you guys know today I'm on Deja's side because I want this to be balanced. But everybody knows that I'm libertarian. I'm more, right of center. My point in saying that is they trying to tell jokes that they haven't practiced for. They're trying to do things that are only going to benefit their particular base, but it's going to be repulsive. I had Brandon Tatum, I had to isolate myself from him when he said Ahmaud Arbery deserved it. That's a dumb talking point. That is not going to, and he was wrong. And he was wrong when I told him he was wrong before the verdict came out. Okay? Telling people on the right saying when the GOP say just comply, you are the same party that says just comply without factoring in that there are some horrible police officers. Do I think that it's a metric that it's the worst thing in the world like an extreme leftist would say? Absolutely not. But if you're not articulating this in a balanced manner because it was great for Trump, listen, man, Dennis Rodman used to party all night, come to the stadium and still get 20 rebounds. You're not Dennis Rodman. And so I think in that sense, outside of Trump, they're not well, the GOP could be doing a very, very better, like the fact that they don't even talk about Frederick Douglass is wild to me. Like, so that's kind of like my reason there. The metrics for Trump is almost like his juggernaut. Trump is almost his own juggernaut. And to be perfectly honest, if it wasn't for Trump, I don't think there would be so much matriculation. I think those people are gravitating to Trump. They're not gravitating to limited government conservative values. I think that Trump is now being guided to limited government liberty values because he's hanging around libertarians.
Yeah, and I think that last point that you just made there is a solid one, and that's why I said earlier that I don't agree with some of the reasons, many of the reasons, in fact, that a lot of blacks are moving toward Trump. Yeah. It's not so much that they're moving to a conservative way of looking at America. Right. It's more so that they're going to the personality of Trump. So I do agree with that.
Right. Wait, real quick, y'all. Jump in real quick, Deja. I'm going to queue up this next video. It's about 2 or 3 minutes long. And these next few of questions. First, I want to thank, again, all of the panelists. Thank y'all so much. I want you guys to make sure that as they communicate, I'm going to throw their social media platforms and their YouTube channels up on the screen. I want everybody in the actual chat to make sure that you are following our panelists, okay? You don't get to see this very often. You don't get to see entertaining, articulate, balanced out perspective from different scenarios of all groups of people. You know what I mean? So I want to make sure that you guys are supporting that. But real quick, Deja, go ahead and I'm going to queue up the next video.
Yeah, just really quickly, I want to answer Chad's question because Chad was a great question. You're right. Like, if the way Trump talks is so repulsive and tacky, then why did we see an uptick in people who are supporting him? And I'm sure there are a lot of layered answers to that, a lot of them which I don't know enough about to speak on in depth. But I will say 2 possibilities for that. One is it could just be that maybe the candidates from this time they don't like and they prefer him more. And 2, there's something we really have to understand about like psychology and the way people look on to these people who take these public platforms. Some people are drawn to the straight shooter, the funny guy, the guy who doesn't mind calling it like it is. They see it as real. And so even though in a political arena, we could consider it maybe tacky to say some of the stuff he says, there are audiences and members out there who are listening to that like, oh, okay, that guy sounds like a guy that I was kicking with or that I know, or that was straight up. Most politicians keep it real stuffy and he kept it real. So I think that is one thing that does work in Trump's favor, although it can go off the rails sometimes. Perhaps the uptick is there are people who are drawn to his personality. Now, and real quick for Mr. Lecko, I do believe that Trump is a narcissist. I think he has some sort of clinical diagnosis. I really do, just for you. And part of being a narcissist, depending on what sort of narcissist you are, is being charming, and Trump has a charm about him. So maybe that's what.
And I know you're about to go to the next clip. With all that being said, would you want the most honest person to be your president versus the other person that is literally dishonest because everything that comes out their mouth is, I'm not going to say a lie, but it's jargon meant to omit what they actually think and feel, So like I said, if she, no,
she's not honest.
She's not direct or honest, because if you ask her how she feels, she's not going to tell you. And think about this. And I don't want to make this too long. Do you realize that Kamala Harris literally does the same thing we do to y'all when you catch us cheating, or when you ask her where we were last night? We do the exact same thing. And you want this person to be your president, and you calling us narcissists? You're a narcissist for actually wanting a narcissist to be your damn president, because the biggest narcissist between the two people is actually Kamala Harris, because she is lying by using dysfunctional and incoherent jargon to pull away from the actual conversation that is at hand. What are you talking about?
Let me ask you this, Mr. Lego. Do you think that it's intentional? Like do you think she just incoherent, or she a high level Sith Lord that's doing a drunken monkey?
I personally think she's incoherent. I don't think she's that smart. I think actually she has a mental illness. So, well, this is the problem with I want to say it, black women.
Oh shit.
Black women. No. Y'all love to sit here and talk about degrees so damn much. Degrees are simply validation. All right. Having degrees don't mean nothing. And let me explain why, and we can move forward, because I gotta say this shit. Black women love to sit here and say, oh, I got 8 degrees. You still broke. I got 8 degrees. You still can't find a job. I got 8 degrees. You still got 4 kids by 4 different men. Four different men. So it shows y'all, black women, that having a degree don't mean a goddamn thing, because you got 4 kids by 5 baby daddies. So what does that mean? So there's a difference between, hold on, I'm almost done. So everybody, it's one thing about being coherent.
Chat right now. I want the super chats coming up. I want the likes going up. I want to share this all over the place. Let's share this to other people, because I don't know, Mr. Lex. Let's let it go.
I got one more
some pushback in a little bit.
I want y'all to think about this one thing: life decisions and being coherent is totally different than operating in a linear direction, which is, because this is what school simply is comprehension and repetition. And if you're good at reading something, remembering it, and reverberating it, you can get whatever degree that you want. And of course, you have to be steadfast in whatever it is you're doing and committed. So you do have to be committed, because to go 6 years, 8 years through college, that is a lot. But all you really need to do is to actually be able to comprehend and reverberate what it is that you just read or learned and put it on paper. And you got a damn degree. That doesn't mean you're not stupid. And I'm not calling a graduate stupid. I'm just saying some people can be stupid and have a bunch of degrees.
So I got this channel. We working on it. Mr. Let It Go is about to get the channel deleted. I appreciate it. We may never come back, guys. Thanks a lot, guys. We already had conservatives on. Y'all know they was trying to like silence all conservative voices, but thanks a lot, guys. Subscribe to Mr. Let Go right there on that his channel right there. I want to go switch gears again a bit, y'all, which is actually a perfect segue. This is a woman, and the sister that's in this video, again, she had prior commitment. She couldn't make it into this actual stream tonight because I was going to moderate. It was going to be Deja and the sister here, and the two brothers that are, everybody's, again, thankful for tapping into the stream. But this sister here, I want to play this video. I want the chat and I want the panelists to give their perspective on this video right here of a sister who has a son and he's of voting age. And I want y'all to hear what she's saying about his voting age. We'll play a few minutes of this.
We've talked.
Hold on 1 second, y'all. Run it
The
back.
mom, the aunt, the cousin, the grandma, the sister, the friend, of a Black male who is of voting age, I desperately need you to watch this video. If you're not, you can keep scrolling, but if you are, I need you to watch this video and I need your advice. I am a mother of a 24-year-old handsome Black male who lives down the South. I live up north, but he grew up in a very, you can call it liberal household. My household has always, including my husband, he grew up with a man in the household, a male role model. Both of us are educated. We've always advocated and been activists for the rights of marginalized and oppressed people, to include people of Black, brown, Muslim, Asian, people with disabilities, LGBTQIA, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We've talked about rights as we have a nonprofit. We do lots of things in the community that supports the politics and the policies of Vice President Kamala Harris. I even remember the day that Barack Obama won the election in 2008, and my son was 8 years old. And the very next day he got up and put on a suit and tie. He wanted to wear that to school because he saw himself in that moment that he could be the president of the United States. However, in the past several months, he has been giving me strong indications, although he has not said it out loud, that he wants to vote for former President Donald Trump in this election. We are constantly talking him off of that ledge. We are constantly defending Vice President Kamala Harris and reinforcing what we experienced under the oppressive conditions, the police brutality, et cetera, that we experienced under the presidency of Donald Trump. We have to continue to reinforce Project 2025 and what that's going to mean for him as a Black man in the future. But for some reason, about once a week, we have to talk him off that ledge. I'm not sure what's going on with our young Black man. He grew up in a very privileged household. He has had all of his needs met, and maybe because he hasn't had to go a day without health care, he hasn't had to go a day without food and his basic necessities. If his human rights or his educational rights or whatever rights that he is entitled to has ever been breached, we have always been there to advocate for him. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe that privileged life that he has experienced of a young Black man has somehow aligned with Donald Trump's privilege. And somehow he sees himself more in him than he does Vice President Kamala Harris. But more importantly, not more importantly, but what really keeps me up at night is that as a Black woman, I have always made it a priority to show him the strength of a Black woman. I started out as a single mother with him. Went to law school with him. His first day of kindergarten was my first day of law school. So he witnessed me struggle through law school. He witnessed me even after I graduated, start making salaries, the struggle.
All right. Right there. We gonna stop it. Okay, ladies first.
Whoa!
Ladies first. And Deja, listen, I'm with you, right? We gonna have to rumble on this one to get this weight off. Okay?
I got a Birdman hands.
Okay.
You starting it off. Go ahead, Deja.
Just to be clear, this was this woman who spoke was going to be here today, but she was unable to, right? And so this is one of her videos. Is that what I was?
The sister, yeah, she was supposed to be here tonight, but she had a prior commitment. So I'm gonna argue in her favor on her argument. But she giving me a lot to work with.
Bless her little heart.
Well, so she said a lot. She said a lot, right? And she shared a lot of personal things about herself. It sounds like she went through a lot, maybe had some tough times and made some poor decisions. It sounds like she ended up putting herself through law school or something and turning it around, right? We love when people turn around poor decisions and a poor deck of cards, right? So good for her.
Right.
And so to what she was talking about though. So she's describing this son of hers who's becoming a man, and despite growing up in a very pro, sounds liberal, sort of liberal household, he's now shifting towards a more conservative, Trump-based mindset. So I'm getting. So this is, and y'all have to stay with me because this is layered. This is layered, okay? Kamala is coming into a potential presidency at a very interesting time in history, right? In the course of mankind being on Earth, this is really there's a shift happening between men and women, right? Which kind of brings us even back to the whole pop the balloon thing, right? There's this shift happening in our society, particularly in American society. In previous decades, forever, it's always been a long-standing thing that men were the rulers of our society, right? And to some degree, there's some biological reasons behind maybe why that is too. But in the last 100 years or so, there's been a shift, and in particular lately, women are dating differently. They're asking different things of men. And like one thing that I always see is that now if a man wants to be married to a woman, you may have to have a little emotional intelligence, buddy. I'm not just being passed from my father to you, and I can't get a bank account, and I can't really have a job or whatever it is, and so I'm hoping for security through this marriage. Now women are saying, well, hey, I'm in school, I'm educated, I'm putting myself through law school even though I'm a single mom. And so there's this shift happening. And in this subset, right, the societal shift that's happening of what men and women are looking for, what they're asking for, there's two things happening with both men and women. You're having a group of women who are going to the extreme and hating men. They're having this realization of change, and they're thinking, well, we hate men. Why did it have to be this way? Why couldn't we read books for so long, right? And they're going to extreme. And then you have this group of men who are also going to the other extreme, where they're like, why does it have to change? Why are these women doing this? I don't like women. And I think, unfortunately for Kamala, a lot of men are getting lost in that extreme group, and a lot of women are getting lost in that extreme group. So perhaps to bring it back for this woman who was in the video, her son, maybe there's an issue that Kamala's a woman. Maybe there's an issue that she's a Black woman. Maybe there's some issues there. I really feel like some of the disconnect for some of the male voters, regardless of race, is because the Kamala has a vagina, to be honest with you.
Wow. Chad, jump in, Chad.
Well, the thing is, I guess my question for Deja is, would you say that America's sentiments, inclinations, trends are similar to that of the rest of the Western world?
Compared to the rest of the world, you said?
The Western world.
I feel like we're the leaders of a lot of these things, maybe because of our wealth, but the way America does things leads the Western world and some of the Eastern world too.
Right. So if you're saying that America's not ready for, or American men in particular, American Black men are not ready for a
I didn't say that.
female president, how? Okay, so you didn't say that. So you weren't insinuating. All right. So I mean, this notion that America, and I grant that you didn't say this, but this notion that America's not ready for a female president or a female leader is just untrue. When you consider the fact that other nations in Western society have had women in leadership roles as prime ministers, such and so forth. But you know, when I look at that video, first thing that comes to mind is good for that young man. You know what I mean? He's his own person with his own beliefs and his own thoughts that are not his mother's, and good for him. I would like to see more young Black men think for themselves in the same fashion as her son did. When she said that, you know, in her home, we always taught our children that they should care for the marginalized, the downtrodden, this, that, and the third. As a historian, as someone who is an independent researcher, who has looked at the tactics of the Communist Party, or in the Soviet Union, their agitprop program over the course of the 20th century, and how they strategically, I mean, you can read this in the 1928 Communist Comintern, how they strategically sought after so-called marginalized peoples, observed what their so-called grievances were, tapped in and exploited those grievances so as to basically use those so-called marginalized people as a battering ram to subvert and to implode the system from within. This has been true of their interest in Black activism over the course of the 20th century, their interest in feminism over the course of the 20th century, their interest in gay liberation going into the 1970s, and on I can go. Even the ADA, the American Disabilities Act. So my point in saying that is this whole notion of putting it into the minds of the people that we have to look out for the least of these as it relates to American politics is something that they do on the left. They don't give a damn about these so-called marginalized people. They don't care about them. But, you know, and I'm talking, of course, when it comes to policymakers, politicians, activists, so on and so forth. At the ground level, people like this mother, she doesn't see it that way. She sees their advocation for and championing of the so-called rights of marginalized people. They see it as a genuine thing. So they, of course, teach these virtues and these values in their homes, not realizing that the whole thing is a ruse to begin with. They're simply using so-called marginalized people to build the system they wish to build, which is actually detrimental to the people they say they're trying to help. And the last point I'll say is this, you know, it's quite a shame because for me, growing up, I was born in 1990. So growing up here in Texas at my school, which was the last school, the Mansfield High School was the last school to desegregate in the country, right? And so in the 90s, 80s going into the 90s and early 2000s, they called themselves trying to make up for, you know.
When my turn comes, I'm about to go nuts. I'm about to go nuts, y'all.
Top as it relates to critical race theory and DEI and all the other things, even though we didn't recognize it as CRT and DEI at the time. I remember, again, going to school late 90s, early 2000s, learning about the civil rights movement and Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and Martin Luther King, learning about these people by predominantly white teachers in a positive way. And it wasn't until I became old enough to do my own research and realizing that the Jesse Jacksons and Al Sharptons and others were clowns and were hustlers and who were using their position not to help Black people, but actually to get rich off of Black folks, tapping into grievances, exploiting sentiments such and so forth to line their own pockets, that I realized, oh, I was betrayed, not only by my teachers and the historians and so on and so forth, but in a sense by my own folks, my aunts and uncles and so on and so forth, who were teaching me this garbage growing up as well. And so I felt betrayed and I felt like I was lied to. And so looking into those lies led me away from the Democrat Party. And I became a Republican and I started doing research into them and realized that they were complicit with a lot of this nonsense. So I left the Republican Party and now I'm independent. I don't believe any politician. I don't believe in anybody claiming to be for the marginalized people. And so my point in saying all that is my kind of coming to understanding was a process and it led me away from everything that I've been taught growing up. And I feel like that may have been the sentiments of her son. And I say good for him. We can't rely on this kind of hyper emotionalism to bring us back into submission because it's freer on this side. And that's the point I wanted to make.
Mr. Lego.
All right. So the first thing I gotta say is to what the woman said in the video, because there's two parts to this. She's married, but she grew up. She I don't know how old the child was, but she said that her child didn't really want for nothing because, you know. So it sounds like he grew up in a middle class family. So when you sit back and just look at who he actually can relate with, it would actually be Kamala Harris, because he grew up in a middle class family just like Kamala Harris did. So for him to actually vote against somebody that he can possibly relate with, there must be something else there. That goes to my second point. There's two sides. There's a dichotomy. He probably wasn't always in a middle class family because she said that she was a single mother before she got married. So there are two different sides of this young man's life. And the fact that he lives with his father and not his mother tells virtually everything I need to know and who he's voting for about this young man. He most likely did not like living under his mom's roof for the main reason where none of us liked living under our mom's roof. Most of us would have loved to live with our father instead of our mothers, male and female. I've been coaching women for the last 7 years. And the number one thing that I learned from years of coaching different women, different walks of life, different races, different ethnicities, is that most women, white, black, not just black, have tumultuous relationships with their mother. That is a fact. So, with all that being said, the fact that he's with his father and is now wise enough to see life for the way it is and actually vote for somebody other than Kamala Harris, I would say, it makes logical sense. And my last point is this. This election is literally about heterosexual men, which is her son, hopefully, and the LGBTQ community. See, black women in particular love for black men to be softer, gayer, and more passive. Why? Because our women are hell bent. Hence, oh, I'm educated or she's educated. You never talk about how men are educated. It's always women being educated. When you hear somebody saying they're educated, it's always black women are more educated and all this other stuff, right? Which is true, but y'all don't have more money. Y'all just have more education. So it's a moot point. So because women are hell bent on overtaking black men in the social hierarchy, they feel like there's this beautiful opportunity for it to happen to vote for an incoherent black woman who you, Daja, said if somebody else was running in a Democratic Party, you would have voted for somebody else. So you don't even believe in this goddamn woman. My last point is this. We have all experienced women being the head or living under a matriarchy already. We don't need Kamala to be the president. Because guess what? The majority of black families are ran by women. So at the end of the day, we don't need to see what Kamala can do and, to be up under a matriarchy. All of us have been for all our lives. Hence the reason why this young man is living with his father and not her. Nobody wants to live under that shit. So that's the number one reason why this young man is voting for a man instead of a woman, because he was easily able to see the difference between growing up under a woman and growing up under a man. And he's choosing patriarchy and not matriarchy. The majority of black people are maladaptive, antisocial, emotionally inept, and overall dysfunctional, male and female. Y'all love to talk about how men are lack emotional whatever. Y'all love to sit here and say men lack all these ambition. But guess what? These niggas was raised by women. So what do you expect?
Can we jump? Can we cut it there? Because it was getting crazy. We gotta cut it.
Go ahead, Deja. Jump in here real quick. I'm gonna tap out, Deja. You handle this.
Wow.
Okay.
I feel like we just had a free therapy session for you, my friend, and I'm concerned. Okay. No shade. Not a little bit of shade, but no shade.
This is my therapy session for you.
That was a huge dump of stuff. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be rude. Let me stop. I'm sorry. I'm not even going to unpack a lot of that. I think a lot of that maybe is some personal feelings about women and black people that I don't.
That's the weaponization right there. You see that?
I don't do that.
Oh, it's a personal problem with Black women. Instead of just responding to what I said.
We let you have your rant. Come on now. So I'm not gonna unpack all that. I think
You
all
can.
I'll say is that I'm sorry that that's your experience, and I hope that for a lot of people that they have positive experiences with the women, their grandmothers, their aunts, and that even if they perhaps did not have a father directly in the home, which if we know history, we know exactly why Black men haven't been in the home historically for a lot of different reasons. But just because a Black man doesn't live in the home doesn't mean that they aren't adjacent in the community. There's not an uncle, there's not a papa, there's not a whoever, whatever. So there's a whole lot of stuff that you just unpacked there. But I just want to just jump in and say that because there were a lot of strong statements made that I think could be dangerous to say. And I wanted to just jump in and say
Dangerous?
Thing you shared about and not a general idea. So I'm gonna cut there.
Do we think that this type of, even these videos and this politics, do we think that political divide is what's adding to the generational divide in these families? Because it seems to me like the mom is almost low-key disappointed, like damn near feeling disenfranchised that her son may be going in a different direction. I want everybody to understand that that young man is over the age of 20. He's 20 something. Like he's over the age of 20. So he's not 18, 19. Right? But I guess I'll ask this question back to the panel. Are we allowing this political climate, to affect our families' ability to have open, respectful dialogues about differing opinions?
Why can't this young man vote for who the hell he wants to vote for? What is the problem with this woman being so upset? Hence the reason why he don't live with her ass.
Chad, what's your thoughts on it?
Who the hell wants to deal with this shit?
Well, the thing is, one of the things that I've noticed is when it comes to who, and this isn't just true of this election. This has been true for the last 3 elections. Namely the fact that when it comes to the question of who one is or is not voting for, if folks are voting for the Democrat, then typically the conservatives in the family or in the relationship are, well, I don't like that. Here's why I like the Republican. You do what you want to do. I respect your opinion, but here's why I'm voting for my person. Mm-hmm. If that person is voting for the Republican, on the other hand,
he's a narcissist.
It's all the name calling. It's let me take to social media and talk about how distraught I am over the fact that my son or so on and so forth is voting for this person, and it's the cutting of people off, the ostracizing, the marginalizing. That's what tends to happen. And so my question is, and I guess this is in a sense a rhetorical question, unless anyone here wants to answer it, is why is there so much more vitriol and disdain when a family member learns that a family member is voting for the Republican, but you don't see the same level of disdain coming from the other side? Mm-hmm. This, I think, is because there's this kind of leftist conditioning that goes on that makes leftists and Democrats believe that the voting of their adversary, the Republican, means the end of the world, means the end of civilization as we know it, means the end of democracy, the word they love to use. They literally have been saying for over a year now that Trump is a threat to democracy. And this isn't only true of Trump. They said the same thing about McCain. They said the same thing about Mitt Romney, both of whom were milquetoast. And they said the same thing about George Bush, who was a criminal and don't even get me started on Bush, but my whole thing on when it comes to, again, left versus right, which I think is a false dichotomy, but when it comes to left versus right, I think that the politicians, the manufacturers of consent and of public opinion, they use this kind of divide that they kind of fan the flames for. And what I've noticed is that the propaganda that's specifically targeted to leftists instills within them this kind of amplified vitriol for the other side that does not exist with it does not exist as much on the other side. I think this whole thing is a game. And when it comes to politics, and this is the last point I'll make, the title of the show, I think, is Politics Dividing Relationships or something like that. I don't think it's politics per se. I think it's political expression that is dividing families, that's dividing relationships, because how one votes is downstream of what one's mores are, what their ethos is, what their passions are, their beliefs, their culture, such and so forth. Politics is downstream of that. There's political expressions, I think, that intersect and impose and latches on to different cultures. And it's unfortunate that when you look at second wave feminism in the 1970s and the womanist movement, this caused a catastrophe as it relates to the Black family. And the kind of conversations that we're having now in podcast form, they were having back then in the 1970s, where you had a bunch of Black folks in a room with the camera going around and people engaging in these kinds of conversations. Some of these folks, and I have these videos in my archives, some of these folks were Black militants, others were Black conservatives who come from middle-class family and went to HBCUs. And they were having this kind of disagreement as to how they looked at relationships, how they looked at whether or not we as young Black folks should be involved in these kind of militant organizations and movements, what these militant organizations and movements have done to their Black family, comparing their love lives and such and so forth to their parents who were part of the greatest generation, that is the generation that went and fought in World War II, compared to their new baby boomer generation. They were having these same kind of conversations. And it's interesting that we still haven't at this juncture figured it out. And I think that there's something that happened in the late 1960s going into the 1970s with the emergence of Blaxploitation films and music, and a lot of the things that were going on with this kind of ideological subversion thing that was at work that affected not only the Black family but also other demographics, again, as it relates to the hippie movement, free love movement, so on and so forth. This marked a catastrophic change in relationships, and it was political expressions that, in a sense, gave way to how people vote. So I think this is a very nuanced and complex conversation. I don't know that that's the conversation that we're having tonight, but it's mere surface level to say that because somebody is voting for Trump or Kamala, that's the reason why there's a divide. No, it goes deeper than that, and I think it precedes the current hour.
Yeah.
Can I answer his question?
Sure.
You had an earlier question about why is this this need to make, you just said the Republican, if somebody's voting Republican, is just whatever, right? But the people that hears a person voting Republican, the person literally just falls on the floor like a child and starts screaming like you just threw acid in their face, right? Well, women weaponize catastrophication. I'll say it again. Women weaponize catastrophication. The Democratic Party is feminine and the Republican Party is masculine. That's literally what it is. So when you look at what usually happens between these two parties, one party is extremely overly emotional and is mainly women. And it goes back to what I said earlier, how mothers, because we're talking about that particular video, a mother being offended that her son thinks differently. It's a mother having a problem with the people up under her thinking differently. And that is a problem with the Democratic Party in itself. And I urge anybody watching to go read the book called You're Not Crazy, It's Your Mother. You're Not Crazy, It's Your Mother. It's a book that literally lists 40 different visceral reactions that women and Democrats have when you actually disagree with them. Look it up.
Go ahead, jump in.
Just real quick. So to Chad, I wanted to just respond really quickly. You asked a really good question. Again, you've had some great points tonight, and thank you for sharing, although we have different ideas. Definitely thanks for sharing. But I was just going to say that politics has always been a passionate thing. But you're right. There has been this recent thing of like, if opposing side, I mean, you know, it's gotten even violent before. I mean, and we saw Jan 6th. I mean, that was, although that was a whole different thing, but that got really intense. And who knows, maybe social media, being able to get into these think tanks online and share these ideas and get amped up has added to it. I don't know. But it's from both sides. I don't think it's particular to each party. However, depending on who you're talking to, we know that Black people largely vote Democratic. So if you're in the room with a Black person and you mention that, you may get a shocked answer. And I think that's also because of the history of Black people. We've obviously been abused in this country, and this country has had to work and still work, and maybe it's not done so great of making it right. I don't think they'll ever be able to make it right. And so that's why a lot of Black folks lean towards a lot of the Democratic votes, is because you know, taking care of the community, et cetera, to some degree, which I know not everyone agrees with. But that's a good point. I don't know why it's gotten so violent and aggressive. And that is concerning. I don't think it should be ready to throw fists, but it gets that way for sure.
So I want to say thank you. We're going to wrap up. I want to say thank you to all of the panelists. I want everybody that's in the chat to do a few things. One, I want you to follow all of the panelists. The reason why this is important is because, as you guys can see, we were passionate in the conversation. We pushed back, we argued, right? We debated, for lack of, I mean, it wasn't an Oxford style debate, but you guys get my point. What needs to happen is the conversation, and I'll end with what also needs to happen is the execution of some of the solutions. I think that what we exhibited here today was differing opinions, but nobody starts to yell at each other. Nobody's mad at each other. You know, we would all probably go out and have some wine or whatever everybody's into. My point in saying this is, I want you all to make sure that you're following all of the folks, because you'll get a different perspective. And obviously, I will be I'll give kudos to Deja, because Deja has been very, very objective in the conversation. Obviously, you guys know that I'm jumping on her team for tonight, so it's balanced out. But I think that Deja, in communicating those things, did it in a way where, you know, I rarely see somebody say, hey, man, I think that makes a really, really good point. You know, Chad did it, you know, when we were at an event over the weekend. And obviously, Mr. Let Go is 1000% aggressive, but still, I don't think that he's trying to attack the people in the chat. So I think that these are things that we all could learn from this tonight. It makes a lot of sense. And I'm 1000% outside of going to tell you all to follow all of the panelists. 1000%, we got 486 folks watching right now. I want to thank you all for tapping in, and I want you all to donate towards the damn work. We are able to make these types of shows and content and do basic firearms training and have civil discussions and have the solutionary, you know, summit and things of that nature because of your support. We need about 150 donors at the $100 level. That link right under me, do that. And support all of the panelists. When you follow them on X, when you follow them on YouTube, when you subscribe to their channels, when you buy the products that they are partnered with and things of that nature, you allow those folks to share their views that you can learn from, and you give value to them from the value that you get from it. I want to thank you all again for tapping in tonight. My name is Maj Toure. I will see you all tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern for the Maj Toure Show. Thank you tremendously to the panel, and I'll hit all of y'all up directly after. I appreciate y'all, man. All right, peace.
All right.
Bye, y'all.
Okay, y'all, we out. Hey, thanks, y'all. I appreciate that, man. My bad, y'all. It was actually supposed to be a bunch of other people, but some folks flaked. Not flaked. The dudes flaked, but the sisters, the other sister had a prior commitment. The other people that I asked, they had commitment. They do their stream, you know, at the same time. Go ahead, Mr. Lego.
I'm on live on my own, so don't say nothing crazy.
Oh, okay.
But go ahead.
Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank y'all for that, man. I just really appreciate it. And y'all follow each other. I'll just keep hitting y'all up. I'm gonna follow everybody now if I don't already. I'm gonna make sure that I engage y'all, and if I got some stuff coming, if y'all need me for something or could use me for something, please just send it my way.
Yeah, I would love to have y'all on my show because I think this was a very interesting dialogue or whatever because I do shows about the koala bear every now and then. I think it's fun to have dialogue with different people who have different because usually I'm just going in on her and playing different stupid things that she said and stuff like that or whatever. So I think it'd be fun to just have a more intellectual conversation if that's
Yeah.
possible because we're talking about Kamala Harris. But yeah, I think I would love to have y'all on and maybe tomorrow if y'all want to.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down. Let me know the time. Shoot me the message, even if it's not tomorrow because of the stream. I'm down after that. I ain't tripping. Whenever y'all need me for something, just use me. I'm gonna put I'm gonna follow everybody, and then whoever wants anybody else's contact, just if I got them, if y'all cool with it.
Yeah, yeah,
What you was about to
Are
say,
you-
Chad?
Are you in Philly?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Philly now.
Okay.
I'm from
Somebody
Philly,
told me
y'all.
that.
That's what's up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm in Texas. Somebody told me that you're in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I would love to come and interview you.
Let's
on
do it.
camera.
Let's do it at the community center. I'm rumbling to try to get this building bought, but yeah, I'm down. I'm down. Whatever y'all need me for, I'm down. It ain't nothing but a DM or email. Matter of fact, I'm gonna follow y'all now and send y'all my email, and then I'll put all of y'all ats or whatever in that same DM so y'all can follow the other people too. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Sounds good.
All
Nice
right,
meeting you,
appreciate
Deja.
y'all. Thanks again, Deja. I appreciate you.
Thank y'all so much. And thank y'all for the comments too. I see the nice things y'all are saying and challenging us and asking some questions. So God bless y'all. Thank you. I
And it was
appreciate
nice to meet you,
Thanks for having
Deja.
me.
Peace.
All right. Y'all take care.
All right.
Bye now.
All right, y'all. That was a very interesting conversation, and I lit their asses up. And even though I don't do debates, and I don't even look at that as a debate, but I want to ask y'all, who won that? I don't really care, but since we're on here, who won that? Do you think Deja won that? My man, I forgot his name, but who do y'all think won that debate? Even though it wasn't really a debate, I just like having conversations, so I don't really do debates. But for the sake of argument, who won that, and what was your opinion about that whole conversation? Just say you or them. Who won that debate? Because I think that was pretty fun, pretty spirited, and why you didn't text me? You still can join. What do y'all think? Anybody? Like, what do y'all think? I think you did because I strongly believe in what you practice and what you preach. I appreciate that. And Sherry Cook said, Mr. Let Go. So anybody else? There's a bunch of people watching. Like, what do y'all think? I don't know why my chat on my phone just stopped, but it's all good. But that's why I got my computer up. So I'm looking over here at my computer. But what do y'all think about the debate? Do y'all have any opinions or whatever? Chat it up. Let me know what y'all think, because I'm done with that show, but I want to, engage with y'all. This is the first live I've ever interacted with, and it took way too long to figure out how to like. Yes. I understand, because I'm on my phone. I'm usually on YouTube, of course, but I'm on my phone because I was on YouTube with them. So I can't be on YouTube and YouTube at the same time. So yeah, so I understand how different it was. But I did Mr. Let Go I know how you feel about that. Yes, I get it. It's no problem. One thing Aaron gonna do is argue his ass off. Interaction with live. Gotcha. Nicole, without the family structure, we are done. America needs to return to God's principles and purpose. Facts. October 074, yes, he will. Nicole, Rodney, totally 100. Yes. So, I may go live again, probably in another couple hours, y'all. This was kind of like impromptu. I just came home and he asked me to be on his panel and I just, put everything together or whatever. So I'm probably going to come back. So everybody who has not already hit the like button, find a way to hit the like button, because I know being on your phone, you're like, I don't see the like button. I think when you're on your phone, the like button is like at the top and not at the bottom. So make sure to hit the like button. And of course, buy my Deeper Discussions card game. This card game right here is $35. It is the best $35 that you'll ever spend, because there's 81 cards in this card game. And the cards look like this. And on the back looks like this. And you can have a fun time with a mate, a potential mate, or a family member, because the questions are family questions, like how did you grow up type of questions, and not just what's your favorite color question. So you can play my Deeper Discussions card game with family members. I actually played this card game with my daughters, right? Got 2 daughters. And one of the questions in this card game, as an example, is which one of your parents was the most emotionally unavailable? Do you know one of my daughters said me, and my other daughter said their mother? And I'm sitting here like, wait, how is it that y'all experienced me and their mother in an opposite way? So that one question helped me understand the difference between my 2 daughters and how they experienced me and their mom just raising them. So it's a bigger conversation to have, and instead of just having a conversation with a potential dating prospect, because some of y'all might be like, hey, I'm already in a relationship. Some of y'all might say, hey, I'm not dating anybody. But you can play this game with family members, your sister, your cousin, your kids, your mama, anybody, right? Secondly, my mother-daughter card game, like mother, like daughter, will be out in 3 more days, maybe 2 more days, because the shipment may come on the 24th, but it may come on the 25th. And the reason why that's important is because right now it is in pre-order form. But in the next 3 days, my mother-daughter card game is going to be $200. But right now, since it's a pre-order, even though it'll be here in 3 days, it's only $62. And the mother-daughter card game is specifically for mothers and daughters to fix their emotional issues or their issues that, mothers and daughters actually have. So if you're a woman, or if you know of a woman that can't necessarily seem to get along with their mother or get along with their daughter, click the link that is in this chat right now. I'm going to put it in the chat right now. It's pinned at the top also, and it's at the bottom of this video. And pre-order my mother-daughter card game for $62. Because in 3 days, you're going to go on my website and you're going to be like, damn, it's $200? But right now it's $62. So Amani says how much? My mother-daughter card game right now for the next 3 days is $62. This Deeper Discussions card game is $35. But for 3 days, in the next 3 days, it's going to be $62, my other card game. So I suggest for you to purchase the card game while it's in pre-order form, because you ain't even going to have to wait. Because like I said, if you purchase today or pre-order today, I get the cards on the 25th. You'll get the card game probably like the 28th. And you only got to pay $62. Because when I get that card game in my hand, it's going to be $200. And the reason why it's $200 is because my mother-daughter card game is the only product, not just card game, the only product on the market that can help you fix your problems or issues with your mother as a woman. There's no other product on the market that can help you fix your issues with your mother. You go to therapy, but that's going to be $100 an hour. Or you can buy my card game, which will be $200 in 3 days, but $62 right now. So right now, buy one of my card games before we get off this live. But I'm going to go live again. It's almost 8 o'clock now. I may go live again 9 to 10. I got some things to talk about. But if not, I'll probably go live tomorrow around 12. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Somebody says, ain't enough cards in hell that can help my mother. Well, October 3074, I think you already pre-ordered the card game. We'll find out in another 5 days. October 3074, you bought this card game already, right? You pre-ordered already, right? October 3074, I'm quite sure you did. Because this will be a good opportunity for you to see if this card game can help you and your mother. What you said was impactful, that others don't talk about, but needs to be talked about and be aware of. No, about deeper discussions. So October 3074, you don't want to get the card game at $62 instead of $200? And you got issues with your mother? Wouldn't it make sense to get the card game and just see what happens? Because like I said, this is a beautiful card game. She has questions to ask you. You have questions to ask her. So y'all are on an equal footing. There's no judgmental energy in this card game. And two, there's actually 2 extra cards in there that are like emotional check-in cards, where if you piss your mother off or your mother pisses you off with these questions, you go to the emotional cards and read the emotions on the cards and say, how are you feeling right now? Because too many of us don't understand our own emotions. So instead of you getting mad at what your mama said, or your mom getting mad at what you said, in this card game, you say, you know what? Pick up the card and say, okay, how am I feeling? What emotion am I experiencing? Is it, I feel judged? Do I have mom guilt? Do I feel hurt? Do I feel scared? Do I feel seen? Do I feel pushed away? And then your mother can articulate how she feels specifically because of these cards. And now you can be like, oh, damn. You're experiencing fear? Why do you feel? What is the fear? And now y'all gonna have a totally separate conversation about how your mom or how you are feeling, instead of just feeling it. Having a conversation about how you feel Isn't that the specificity of what women need from the other person? Having a conversation about how you feel, your actual specific emotion. That's what my card game will be able to do with you and your mother or you and your daughter. So October 3 of 74, if you don't pre-order this freaking card game, why it's $62? Because I could just lead the horse to the water, but I can't make the horse drink. Get this card game. You got 3 more days before it's $200. I don't know where she is. And okay, you don't know where she is. I haven't spoken to her in 20 years. Oh, wow. Well, guess what? I had the same scenario with my father. Well, my father. I haven't spoken to him in 20 years. But guess what? I picked up the phone and called him. Well, I actually went out to see him. So keep that in mind. I was in the same scenario with my father, but we fixed that with one conversation. Mother of the universe says, I got daddy issues. Understandable. I'm going to come out with a mother, I'm a father-daughter card game and a mother-son card game also. And if you have daddy issues, would you like to do a one-on-one with me so we can work on those things, Mother of the Universe? If so, go to my Instagram. Actually, do this. So this is for Mother of the Universe who says she has daddy issues. I got you. Where am I at? Do this. This is for anybody who needs access to me from a coaching standpoint. Mother of the Universe, the link that I just dropped in the chat says join Let Go Mafia. Is only $20 a month. Join Let Go Mafia and we'll have a conversation about your daddy issues and I can help. What do you think about Jay-Z was spotted today in New York City? I don't know. He can't be in New York City? I'm confused. What I got to do with anything? Was he doing something? Did he say something? Talking to Jerry Thompson. I'm confused. He lives in New York. What's wrong with him being in New York City? Or was he in New York City acting weird? Like Diddy was in New York City acting weird the day before he got arrested. Because remember, 2 days before Diddy went to jail, he was just walking around, New York City just randomly, and he was in a random park and just sitting down in the park and just randomly sitting around looking crazy. Cooley said he gonna beat your ass. Why? Why would he do that? I just saw Cooley last weekend. So Cooley did not say that because we just saw each other over the weekend. So just for the record, a lot of you people on YouTube, y'all just be on YouTube. I actually be outside in real life. So anybody that I've ever had a conversation with, I've ever got into it with, had an argument with, a debate with on social media, I pull up on them. And I'm not saying I pulled up on Cooley, but I seen Cooley this weekend and we were cool. So don't start no mess because there is no mess. Me and Cooley are cool. There's no problems with me and Cooley because we saw each other in person last weekend. So Cooley did not say he's going to do nothing. And I ain't saying I'm going to do nothing because there's no problems. I'm outside. Okay? For all of you YouTube dudes, I'm outside. You will see me in person. I'm not like these cornballs that don't go nowhere. I am outside. You will see me in person. I am not no YouTube dude. So nobody wants to beat me up. Nobody. And I don't want to beat up nobody else. And the reason why I know nobody wants to beat me up, because they have met me in person. And we both were cordial. No matter who it is that you don't see me get into it on YouTube, I've met them in person. So stop it. But shout out to Cooley. He's cool. You know, we had a great conversation and, you know, we cool. No problems. It was cool. We actually did content together. So no beef, no problems, no issues. So stop it with the little stupid stuff. But I'm out of here and I'll talk to y'all later. Oh shit. 6 people have bought my 2 people bought my mother-daughter card game, and 4 other people bought my Diva Discussions card game. So shout out to y'all. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And that's it within the last 15 minutes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But I'm out. I will talk. Hold on. What do you think? How about people when they get on stage getting scared? Get on stage getting scared, I guess. I'm saying anything about Diddy in about what he did. What? I can't understand it. There is a picture out there that's telling about Mariah Carey and Diddy. Aaron, what you getting me for my birthday? When is your birthday? October 3074. Oh, October 3074. Duh. October 30th. I ask you the same question every year. I asked you the same question last year. That's hilarious. So, yes, your birthday is October 30th, 1974. I don't know. I got you, though. I got you. Whatever you want. Buy you some flowers or something. But talk to y'all later. I'm out of here.